Hi all, Kirsten here, and it is about 3:40 in the afternoon in Seoul. I just got back to my dorm from school and it is very, very hot outside. It's about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, but it's actually not too bad. It's kind of a dry heat, so it's not as horrendous as the last couple of days where it's been very gray and very overcast, so it's been very humid. And yeah, I like the heat, so it's not really a big deal to me. Also, I bought this Korean hair serum at the store across the street, and even though I can't tell what it says besides perfect serum, it has been doing pretty good for my hair. My hair has been taking very well to the humidity. It's pretty smooth, so shout out to whatever that brand is because it's doing a good job. Okay, before I start this video, I do want to start off with a disclaimer. I just want to say that I'm only speaking about my personal experience here in Korea, and everybody should decide what's comfortable for them personally. I'm obviously not here to recommend one kind of diet towards another because I have no idea what people are going through, whether it's with their health or with the resources they have. So I don't think that it would be responsible for me to make any kind of assumption to anybody who watches this and make them feel like I'm advocating one way or the other. But I did want to share this story because I am hopeful that in realizing this for myself, maybe I could help somebody else realize it as well who's going through the same guilt as I was. I definitely need a lesson in being more forgiving to myself, and oftentimes people need some help doing that for themselves as well. So I'm kind of just hoping that I'm able to help somebody out with this. This issue is very polarizing, and I am 100% prepared to take whatever the internet has for me when I do share this story, because I know that some people can be very unforgiving toward other people. However, this is, my truth, and I'm not going to try to sugarcoat it. I do also want to mention that this is totally a self-induced problem. If I came to Korea knowing the language, I wouldn't have any trouble continuing eating the way that I was before. However, I came to Korea not knowing any Korean. I am actually trying to learn. I have all of the Hangul written down, and I'm hopeful that I can basically understand things when I leave. But we'll see. I'm only here for a month, so that's not a lot of time to learn a completely new language, but I am trying. I have run into some difficulties not knowing any Korean, and I'm trying to fix that, but there's only so much that I can do. Okay, so let's get into it. If you do not know me in real life, I am a vegetarian. I stopped eating fish about a month ago, maybe a little over a month, so I wasn't fully vegetarian until then. Coming to Korea, Korea is a very meat-centric country. They do beef in almost everything that they serve. Also, a lot of seafood-based dishes are the norm. And even though that was the case, and I knew that was the case coming over, I felt like I wouldn't have a big problem eating vegetarian here. Happy Cow has an app where it will tell you where you can find vegan and vegetarian dishes based on your geographic proximity to different restaurants. And it's really nice. I've used that here and it's worked pretty well. Being vegetarian isn't something that I find difficult at all, even in my job. I am a flight attendant, as you all know, and I often travel to smaller regional airports, so kind of smaller towns. Living in Portland, being a vegetarian and being a vegan is a piece of freaking cake. There are vegan options for everything. However, when I go into these other places in the US and in Canada, I still don't have as big of a problem finding food as I do here, and that's just because I'm flying to English-speaking places. Here, mostly I can ask if something has meat in it, and for the most part, enough people know English well enough that they can tell me if something has meat in it or not, but I have run into issues with some people a few times. But I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start with a conversation that my roommate and I had a few nights ago. It was either 2 or 3 nights ago. I saw her watching a video on her laptop, and it was called something like Problematic Vegan or something like that. I'm gonna link the video that we were watching in my description box because I thought that it was quite interesting and quite correct actually. But I saw that, and because we had already talked about me being vegetarian, I said, what are you watching? And she told me, and I asked her to take her headphones out so we could watch it together. And it was this woman who was criticizing this other woman on YouTube for talking about how easy and affordable and accessible veganism is, when the reality is that's just not the case for some people. So I agreed with a lot of what she was saying. And after that video, we had a long discussion about diet culture and her vegetarian experience, because she was vegetarian for 6 years, and we also talked about mine as well. There was a lot of stuff that we talked about that I found really interesting and really relevant to my current situation, but one thing that really hit home for me was when she was telling me about how when she was a vegetarian, she went out with one of her friends who was also a vegetarian, and they went to a restaurant together. And her friend ordered a cheese quesadilla, but when it got brought to him, it was a chicken quesadilla. And he looked at it and he was sad, and he said, oh, that's unfortunate. But then he picked up the quesadilla and ate it anyways. And she was wondering why he did that. And he said, well, it would be way more wasteful to send it back, get a new one with cheese on it, than to eat the quesadilla myself. And she told me that she was so blown away by this experience that she had with her friend, and she thought, wow, you're right. The reason why this story hit home for me was because the night before that, we had gone out to eat with a couple of our housemates, and we went to a place where they didn't have an English menu, but she speaks a little bit of Korean, so she asked the woman who was serving us, hey, my friend's vegetarian, do you have any vegetarian options? And the woman pointed to this kind of noodle bowl. And I said, okay, great, bring that out. And she brought it out, and when I started to dig into it, immediately I found something that looked like sausage. And I looked at it, and I set it to the side, and I put my chopsticks down, and I just sat back and kind of stared at the soup. And the woman who was serving me came to me, picked up my chopsticks, took all of the sausage pieces out of the noodles, and then set the chopsticks back down and stepped back and looked at me. And I just continued to look at the soup. And I told the people that I was eating with, okay, it's very clear that they don't understand the concept of vegetarianism here. When I was looking at that soup, I was thinking about this situation that happened with my partner right when we had started dating, I think. We were together. I wasn't vegetarian at the time, and I had bought a basket of chicken fingers and fries at a ball game, and I ate the chicken fingers and I ate a couple of fries, and then I offered the rest to my partner, and he was offended and like borderline disgusted that I had done that. And he said, why would you offer me those? Of course I'm not going to eat them. And I didn't understand at all why he wouldn't eat them, but he told me because, the chicken was touching the fries, he didn't want to eat it. Looking back on that now, I understand why he would feel that way. However, I really didn't get it at the time. And that was the same thing that those people that were serving me were going through in their head. So basically the long and short of it is they took my bowl away and they brought me a new one that didn't have the sausage in it. And I ate that one and everything was fine and good until I had that conversation with my roommate, and I thought about the ethics of wasting food versus eating meat. Personally, I don't eat meat for the animals. It's not for my health. So it's not going to adversely impact me physically if I eat a little bit of meat. I know this because I know that, number one, I was eating fish until a month ago, and number two, I have eaten small amounts of meat on accident, not realizing it until later, and I've been fine. So in that situation, what was more ethical? Was it more ethical to eat the first pot of soup that was brought to me, just, maybe leave the sausage out? Or was it more ethical to send that whole pot of soup back and have it be thrown away and wasted just for them to bring me a new one so that I could stick to my beliefs? And this wasn't a situation where I ordered something with no meat and I know that they understood and they still just mistakenly brought me a different thing. That's a different scenario. This one was a case of misunderstanding. They just really didn't know what I meant when my roommate told them that I was a vegetarian. So it's not their fault. It's really mine for not really knowing what to do in that situation. Anyways, when I went to bed the night that my roommate and I had that conversation, I actually laid awake in bed for a long time, and I was near tears because that conversation had such a profound effect on me. My roommate is an anthropology major, but all of her coursework, all of her major projects have been done on food and nutrition, so she's really knowledgeable about the subject, and she gave me a lot of information that I didn't previously have. I feel like the conclusions that she has come to are also, in some cases, conclusions that I also agree with, and honestly, what she told me was something that I really needed to hear. Do I feel like she told me that story specifically because the same thing had happened the day before? Yes, I do. But I don't feel mad at her about it. I feel like she really opened my eyes to a situation that was making me feel bad and basically should not have been making me feel bad. Again, I do want to say that this is a self-induced problem, and if I spoke Korean, I would be able to order meatless dishes with a lot more ease, and relying on my roommate or, little sentences that I've taken off the internet is probably not going to get me 100% in terms of satisfactory results, but I am trying my best, and that's really all I can do. So now, basically what I'm focusing on is being more forgiving to myself when I do get put in situations where it's either starve or greatly inconvenience myself in the pursuit of meatless food. For example, yesterday, when we went to the cafeteria for lunch at our school, I stood in line to get udon, which was at one of the places in the cafeteria that specifically was marked vegetarian. And this was actually the second day in a row that I had done it. And when I got there, they told me that it was out. And I actually tried again today and they were still out. I don't think they're out. I think they just don't have it anymore, but they just don't know how to say that to me. But anyways, I went then to a pizza place and I ordered a cheese pizza, and they said, oh, it'll take about 20 minutes. Is that okay? At that time, I only had about 20 minutes. So I said, no thanks. I guess I'll go somewhere else. So I just went to the convenience store that was right next to the pizza place. And Asian convenience stores are A+. They have so much good stuff. So what I ended up getting was kimbap, which is just little triangle rice pockets that are wrapped in seaweed. And I got tuna ones. I'm not gonna feel bad about that. I'm trying not to feel bad about that. I'm still working on it. This is something that's really new to me. And once I get back to the States, it's obviously not gonna be a problem to continue to be completely vegetarian there. But, for right now, it's all about what I can do to make this different culture easier on me. And that means that I'm gonna be working on not beating myself up for not very strictly adhering to my personal policies. And I think that's all I got. Hopefully this video speaks to somebody. Like I said, diet culture is really rough. It's a really complex issue. It's very multifaceted. I know a lot of people that are on diets and they do great. And being in Portland in the United States is a whole different world for a white English-speaking girl like me than being in South Korea. Traveling is supposed to be about having fun and making new memories and having new experiences and meeting new people. And that's what I want to focus on. I don't want to focus on my diet to an extent. I'm still going to focus on it a little bit. Okay, next time I promise I'm going to have more action shot videos, but I just wanted to get this out there. This wasn't something that I had planned on doing at all, but I felt like this was really important. So I hope that you all thought it was important as well. That's all I got. Bye.